Alright, so recently I've been tinkering with the concept of our mind and how our mind works and how it affects our daily, day-to-day life. So, I wanted to describe to you what the power of positive thinking can do for us. Now, this video I've actually made like 3, maybe 4 times, and I'm really self-conscious about my videos, so anytime anyone in my entire house can hear it, I stop and start over. And so now I've waited until, what time is it? About 1 in the morning when I think everyone's asleep. There's a chance no one might be asleep, so I don't know. But hopefully no one comes in because I'm really tired of remaking this over and over again. Anyway, so to begin with, the power of your mind is a very unlimited source that we don't entirely know how to tap into. And it's not completely understood either. Scientists have been able to study what our thoughts kind of look like, but they don't know where they come from or where they go or what originates them. I guess that means the equivalent of where they come from, but you understand the point. If you look at an MRI, you can see different parts of our brains light up at different times depending on our emotion or mood. And that's crazy, but that's not just the limiting factor here. There are hundreds, thousands of others, and we don't entirely understand our brains. But what I can tell you is that we control a lot more than we are aware of. In fact, there's an effect that you've probably heard of called the placebo effect, which it's not entirely understood how it works, because to some extent, it unlocks parts of our brains that we don't do very often. Now, there are a lot of rumors saying that we don't use parts of our brains a lot, and that's actually kind of a lie. We don't use 100% of our brain entirely at all times, because that would be very bad. But we do use our entire brain throughout the day, depending on what the process is and what we're doing and what our subconscious is doing, all that stuff, because we have a brain to entirely use. Anyway, so there's another effect called the nocebo effect, and it's the exact opposite of the placebo effect. Now, what both of these do are basically tricking the mind and tricking the body. The placebo effect says that if you think something will work, it will work. The nocebo effect is the exact opposite. If you think something won't work, it won't. So it's kind of like saying placebo effect is under the assumption that your body thinks something will happen, so it does. The nocebo effect thinks your body won't, or your body thinks something won't happen, so it does not. And that's actually kind of where, in that general area, drug addictions accidentally start. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of people who go out and get high all the time, although it does lead into that as well, but I'm more or less talking about how an average person can, accidentally get hooked onto an opiate from just a simple fall. And that's something that does happen. And so our brains will start to actually get addicted to something, and we will get the placebo effect of thinking we're hurting when in fact we're not. That actually could be more construed as nocebo effect, whereas you'd think 30 milligrams of Oxycontin, I don't know if that's safe or not, I don't really know Oxycontin, but let's just say for the sake of saying here, 30 milligrams of Oxycontin your body thinks won't help. You need 60 milligrams so your body won't react to 30 milligrams, even though that's plenty enough to help your body. Now, I think something like 60 milligrams would be really bad for you, and I think 30 milligrams is considered more on the high side of, just a general pain. Anyway, so as we kind of go along this, you understand more concepts like how how everyone sees life differently. And that's something that's really not entirely thought about. I mean, every person in this entire world will see something exactly the same, but will see it exactly different. You can look at a picture and see a face. I can look at a picture and see a bowl of fruit. Now, they can be the exact same pictures with no changes whatsoever, but we see different things. Now, it's not actually that dramatic. I mean, to an extent, that actually can happen. You can have fruit that looks like a face, and you can only see the face, or you can only see the fruit. But I mean more along the lines of color and beauty and stuff like that. Now, um, one of the really cool kind of examples of this is that someone can jump out of a plane and be euphoric. They can be extremely happy and just pumping out endorphins, that feel good hormone. No, wait, chemical. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, whereas someone else can jump out of the exact same plane at the exact same time, at the exact same day, time and day, I guess whatever. Anyway, and feel something completely different. They can get to the ground and they have peed themselves, they are terrified, they're stressed out, their hair even might be falling out in a very, very extreme case. But these people just experience the same thing. So why are they experiencing it the exact same? Well, that has to do with our subconscious. Our subconscious can completely change how we experience different things in life. Whereas one experienced extreme euphoria, the other one experienced extreme terror. And that is something that I'm not sure everyone completely comprehends. Our subconscious dictates what we do and how we feel and interpret everything. So, one of the best ways to be happy is to kind of convince our subconscious that we're happy. And it's not hard to do either. Our subconscious is a very, very fragile thing that is easily manipulated. That's how hypnotism works. And while we are under hypnosis, we are actually very susceptible to the power of suggestion, which is why you can flap your arms and cluck like a chicken. Or, and this is a more real setting, when the police are trying to use hypnosis on someone for them to remember something, you have to be very, very careful not to accidentally suggest something because they will think that was the truth. And this is actually something I've learned from my grandmother, who has a PhD in psychology. So it's not something I just heard of, like it's actually something I learned from a psychologist. Anyway, so our subconscious is really, really flexible and really malleable. Malleable is a term for metal or just about anything where it's really flexible. In case you didn't know that, that's just a little bit of trivia. So there you go. Learn something new. Anyway, so our subconscious is really flexible. So what we can do is convince it of different things. And if you want a good example of how flexible your subconscious is, have you ever woken up from a really bad nightmare and you're just terrified? You can't get out of bed, you're just laying in the dark, and actually like 5 minutes later you're asleep because that's how terrified you were, right? Nah. Anyway, that's one of the kind of examples of how flexible your subconscious is that your subconscious couldn't distinguish the difference between that dream and the real life. It just experienced. So when you were afraid in the dream, your body was afraid. You were actually afraid, and your body physically thought it was in danger. So what if we were to go around and tell our subconscious that we're happy, that everything's good, that everything is fine? Well, then we start reacting to that. And what happens when we react to that? It gets better. We start reacting even more positively. The more you convince yourself that you're okay, the better it can get. Now, this does seem like a form of lying to yourself, and it kind of is, but when you think about it, when you make yourself feel happy, you start acting happy and living a happy life, and then boom, problem's gone. Now, this isn't a permanent solution. It doesn't work entirely, flawlessly, bad stuff still happens. Bad stuff happens to good people. It just is a part of life. But you can minimize the effect of a bad situation on you by just generally trying to force yourself to be happy. And it's very healthy to do that. It seems like it would be frowned upon, and maybe it is, but just don't tell anyone. Let yourself be happy, because when you're happy, life is better. You're enjoying more, you're seeing more beauty, you're enjoying food more, you're losing weight because you're not stressed out. Your body's not trying to prevent death, it's not trying to stock up fat so that it can survive some kind of traumatic event, which is actually proven to be a fact, that when you are stressed, your body tries to stock up fat because you think deep down that you're actually going to run out of food somehow and soon, because that was one of the bigger stressors for early man, is when food was about to run out, we got really stressed, so we stocked up on fat. And that's another really cool thing, is we can actually lose weight that way. To a extent, you can actually use the placebo effect to lose weight. If you think that fruit and only fruit will make you lose weight, you will lose weight. Now, this isn't 100% true at all times, because if you eat nothing but Oreos to an extent, then you're going to get fat, because your body actually does need different vitamins and minerals from different foods. But to a very, very minute extent, you actually can affect your body's metabolism just by thinking. And that's one of the really cool things, is that's kind of how I lost all the weight that I did, 70 pounds in 5 months, somewhere in that general area, more along 4 months, but I like to say 5 months. Anyway, because I thought that what I was doing was making me lose weight, I still got all the nutrients I needed, and so my body processed it like I was losing weight, and I actually did lose weight. Now, this isn't 100% how it worked. It also did come down to chemistry. I worked out a lot, I ate right, and I ate a lot less than I used to. So there were a lot of factors contributing to that, but one of the biggest was just the mental aspect. If you convince yourself you don't need that candy bar, then that's a candy bar calories that you didn't consume. And so, one of my number one rules for life is to be happy, regardless of if you're atheist, religious, believe in reincarnation, or think there's nothing after death, is to be happy. Because no matter what, if you're happy, regardless of if there is an afterlife or not, at least you lived a happy life. Now, if there is an afterlife, boom, more happiness. No afterlife, at least you are happy. And that's the best way to live your life, is just to try to generally be happy, because no matter what, at least you are happy. And that's it for today. Just remember, always try to be happy, and just to influence your brain and influence your subconscious that you are happy, and you will see results.